Hey everyone, and welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the BankAmericard. This is a credit card issued by Bank of America, so I will be going over the main features of this card, its pros as well as its drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of whether or not this card is a good fit for you. But before we go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive at least $60 in free stock, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull where you can receive just that. And all you got to do is once you click on that link, is just open up a free account and then deposit at least one penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you 20 free stocks. Each stock was going to be worth at least $3, possibly more. So you will be receiving at least $60 in free stock. Okay, so diving right into the main features of the BankAmericard. First off, we're going to be talking about the cash back that you can earn with this card. And unfortunately, with this credit card, unlike a lot of the other ones out there on the market, you cannot earn any type of cash back with this credit card, not even 1% in any category. As far as the spend bonus goes, just like the cash back, unfortunately, with this credit card, there's also no spend bonus either, which is pretty unfortunate considering that most other cards out there have at least a spend bonus of, let's say, like $200. Now, this card, of course, has some perks to it, and there is a reason that some people actually apply, which we are going to get into right now. So as far as the card details go, first off, you do not have an annual fee, so that's obviously a pretty good perk there. You're also going to be saving on interest, so you're going to have a 0% introductory APR for the first 18 months, and then a 0% introductory APR on balance transfers as well, as long as you perform that balance transfer within the first 2 months of having this credit card. Now, what exactly is a balance transfer and how could that work in your favor? Well, let's say, for example, you have another credit card, just hypothetically speaking. Let's say you have a credit card with Chase or Capital One, and right now you carry a balance on that credit card from month to month, and you're paying a super high interest, let's say like 25% on a month-to-month basis, and you're shelling out hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on interest every single month with that card because you're not paying it off in its entirety. Well, what you could do is transfer the balance from that card where you're paying that much interest. You could transfer the balance from that card over to this card, and once again, as long as it's done within the first 60 days to open your account, you will not be paying any interest for the first 18 months. Now, of course, you'll want to make sure that balance is paid off in full after the first 18 months are up, because at that point, you will be paying interest, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. Now, as far as some of the other card features go, you're also not going to be dealt with a penalty APR. So if you happen to pay late once or maybe even twice, it won't automatically raise your interest rate. So with other cards out there, unfortunately, you might pay late even one time, and it's very possible they could actually raise your interest rate up to the penalty rate, which is 29.99%. That is the most they can charge you for interest legally. So that's something that you'll definitely want to avoid. So with this card, they cannot charge you the 29.99%. Now, in addition to that, you can also learn more about credit. So they're going to give you access to credit education on topics like using credit cards responsibly, budgeting, and more. Now, this is information that you can also get for free, like on YouTube and other sources. So I wouldn't necessarily just get this credit card for the credit card education and budgeting necessarily. And on top of that, you're also, like I mentioned just a moment ago, you're going to have the 0% introductory APR for the first 18 months. And then you're also going to have access to your FICO score within the mobile banking app or online banking. So this will be useful to keep track of on a month-to-month basis, on a year-to-year basis, and just see how you're improving. Obviously, keeping your credit utilization ratio below 10% and at most below 30%, and then making sure to make on-time payments is going to put you the furthest. But obviously, having a tracking app to see what your credit score is in real time could be quite beneficial. So now that we went over the main features of the BankAmericard, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the APR and fees. But of course, this is also super important as well. So like I mentioned just a moment ago, on purchases, your APR for the first 18 months is going to be 0%. And then on balance transfers, once again, as long as your balance transfer is done within the first 60 days from account opening, you are going to have a 0% APR on those. Now, as far as the purchase APR goes and the balance transfer, after the first 18 months, you'll definitely want to make sure that your balance is paid off in full, because at that point in time, after the first 18 months are up, it's possible that you might be paying interest if your balance is not paid off in full. So after the first 18 months are up, it's going to go up to anywhere between 16.24 to 26.24%, depending on your credit worthiness. So you'll definitely want to keep this in mind. Make sure that the balances are paid off in full. You have 18 months to get it together. You have 18 months to pay your balances off in full, just to avoid paying any type of interest. Now, as far as cash advances go, on this channel, I always strongly recommend people stay far away from cash advances. This should not be considered financial advice. It's just my own personal reasons. You're typically paying a very high interest rate, plus you're paying a lot of fees as well. Just not a road that I like to go down. But if you do happen to do a cash advance, just know that your APR on those is going to be anywhere between 19.24 to 29.24%. And then of course on top of that, like I mentioned just a moment ago, you're also going to be paying fees as well on those cash advances. So the fees on the cash advances is going to be anywhere between 3 to 5%. Now, as far as the balance transfers go, even though you will have a 0% introductory APR for the first 18 months, as long as you perform it during the first 60 days from your account opening, is not going to be totally free, because there is going to be a fee attached to your balance transfer, and that fee is going to be 3%. That means that if you're transferring a balance of $1,000, you're going to be charged a fee of $30, which of course paying that fee is still going to be a lot less than all the interest that you might be paying on a month-to-month basis with the other card that you might have. Now, as far as some other fees go, they do charge a foreign transaction fee of 3%. So if you happen to travel abroad, this is a credit card you'll probably want to leave back at home, so you won't be charged that extra 3%. Also, another thing you'll want to keep in mind is that certain websites, they actually charge a foreign transaction fee. So certain websites you might want to be aware, you might see a foreign transaction fee of 3% on that as well. And then as far as late payments go, if you happen to pay late, you may be faced with a fee of up to $40. Now, for the first time or two, if you happen to pay late, you might want to call into Bank of America and see if they'll waive that fee for a one-time convenience. They might forgive you for the first time, maybe the second time. No guarantees, but it's always worth calling into Bank of America and seeing if they'll waive that fee. Once again, there are no guarantees though. And then finally, as far as the annual fees go, thankfully with this credit card, there are no annual fees. So that's pretty great as well. You have the 0% introductory APR on the purchases and balance transfers, and you do not have to worry about whether or not paying an annual fee for this card is worth it, because again, there is no annual fee. So now that we went over the main features of this card as well as the APR and fees, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and dive into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and cons of this credit card. So we're going to start out with the good things. Once again, the first good thing is the fact that you'll have the 0% introductory APR on the purchases and balance transfers. I'm really hammering this home. So if you have a lot of larger transactions coming up and you're not going to be able to pay it off right away, this might be a good card to have. Or if you currently have a larger balance with another credit card that you're paying a lot of interest on every single month, might be worthwhile for that as well. And the second pro is the fact that you're not going to be paying an annual fee, not in the first year, not in the second year. You're not paying any type of fee to use this card. Now, as far as the drawbacks go, the first drawback is a pretty easy one. You're not going to be receiving any type of cash back with this credit card. That's a pretty big drawback. You're also not going to be earning a spend bonus. And then finally, you're also going to have a 3% foreign transaction fee. So if you do happen to travel internationally, it is a card that once again, you'll want to leave back at home. But just to sum things up here, all in all, this is a credit card I would probably not recommend. And the reason I would not recommend it is the fact that you're not earning any type of spend bonus and you're not earning any type of cash back. Because you can look at other credit cards out there in the market, such as the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. I did a review on that one on this channel as well. With that credit card, you are earning 2% cash back. You're also earning a $200 spend bonus as long as you're able to spend at least $500 within the first 3 months. And then on top of that, you're also having the 0% introductory APR on both the purchases and balance transfers for not for 18 months, but for 15 months, which really is good enough. And with that credit card, you pretty much need the same credit score to be accepted for that credit card as you would this credit card. So I think it's pretty much a no-brainer that the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card beats this one. So all in all, this is a credit card that I would not recommend. But that's all we have for today's review. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.